Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Cory with Utah Dream Properties in Keller Williams. Today I want to talk to you about the housing market update near Hill Air Force Base.
Let's get to work. Let's get to work.
All right, let's talk about the market. So this is kind of interesting, some of the stuff that's happened. So let's go through this and we'll talk through. One of the biggest questions we have is, what does this mean for buyers and sellers? Well, let me explain some of these things as we go through. So first and foremost, price. Everybody wants to know value, right? So we hear all these things in the news, and there's a difference between the value of the home and what a home is listed at. So let's talk about that real quick. First off, the numbers, right? So last year, 2021, $378,500 was the median price. And then this year, $427,500. So we're still seeing values come up, right? What's a misconception out there is, in the news a lot of times, right? Or people that don't really know what they're talking about, they'll say, hey, there's been a whole bunch of, values dropping. Well, that's not necessarily values dropping, as we can see, because the numbers tell us the truth. What's happening is some people and some agents are still listing as if we were going like this with the market. We're not. We've leveled off, what they call a softening in the market. And because of that, we have people that are still listing too high and they're having to reduce those listings, right? So they're still coming down to the value that they should be at, but we have people that just don't have the experience of going through one of these shifts. So it's important when you're looking for somebody, make sure they have been through something, that they understand what's happening, or they have a broker or somebody that they can lean on that would give them that information, right? So, but that's kind of the big scare that everybody's hearing out there, is everything is falling off a cliff. That's not the case according to the numbers anyways. And we haven't seen that come down the pipe yet. So another good thing to talk about is median days on market. So last year, 2021, it was 7 days. Now we're at 26 days. So once again, when you talk about stretching the market, softening it, right, that bell, it's starting to swing back from being a crazy seller's market, coming back a little bit to help out the buyers. Now, don't get me wrong, we're still in a seller's market by far, and we're still less than 3 months inventory as far as number of homes on the market. But it is a good sign that we've softened a little bit, and it gives you a little bit of a chance to breathe, right? So we'll talk about that more in just a second, but let's first talk about number of homes sold. And you can see by looking at the board, 393 last year, and we're at 281 this year. So we've had less sales, and we've had longer time on market, but we still have the value holding, and we have people that are having to reduce some of the listings that they put on because they were still putting them on 5 or 10% higher than what they probably should have put them on at. So one other thing with all of this, right? What does it mean for buyers and sellers? Well, specifically for buyers, right? Interest rates had a bump, and then they kind of came back down a little bit. Realistically, we're still way below the national average. If you go back into the 80s till now, it's actually a little bit over 8%. So we're way below that. So buyers are still happy, and they're also happy because now they have a chance to actually go in and look at a home. They can discuss some things. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be gone that day. Now remember, real estate's always all timing. So I would never tell anybody to be slow or take their time too much, because obviously if you do and someone else goes in there, you're going to lose out on the home that you've always wanted. Just know, all the numbers are showing us that the market has softened a little, so a buyer has a little bit more time. They can look at a few more homes, and we also have more inventory. So we went from about 6 months ago, about 2,300 homes on the market, to now we're at over 10,000, which is nice, right? So we have some more things to look at, and we have a little bit more time to look at them. What does that mean for my sellers? Well, guess what? 3 weeks on market, or 26 days, even a month on market, is still very fast on a home being sold. Normally, to close out a deal, unless you're going to use cash, it's around 30 days anyways. So realistically, we're sitting on the market for up to that 26-day mark, median, right? And a little bit more sometimes. What it's also doing for some of our sellers is it's forcing them to kind of clean up the property a little bit more than what we had to do, right? Before you could put anything on the market, it was just going to go. It was kind of craziness. You knew over the weekend that it was probably going to sell and maybe even have multiple offers and most likely have multiple offers. Now we're seeing where, all right, we've got to go in and we got to actually use our experience in staging. We got to talk about, is it worth putting money into, painting that room or fixing that carpet or maybe finishing that bathroom that we just didn't get to. So our sellers are now having to have experience walking through the door when they talk to their realtor, and that person's got to be able to guide them through that process, keep as much money in their pocket as they can, and also spend the money that makes the most sense so that they can get the right returns on things. And then of course, as an agent, when you're helping a seller out, you want to make sure that they price it appropriately, right? We talked about that earlier. If we're not pricing right and we're pricing way up here, now all of a sudden they got to make these big reductions. It's on the market and people start to treat it like it's a yard sale and just come in and start giving lowball offers. So let's price it appropriately. Let's help our sellers out by telling them, hey, let's clean this, let's fix that, and get it on the market the right way. And that way we have both buyers and sellers still happy. So this is a really unique time in history. Everybody should be in a really good spot to buy real estate. Hey everybody, so we talked this week, we talked about the market update, right? We talked about right around the base, Weber County. Hopefully that information was good for you. Please keep contacting us. Bree's hard at work putting these things together, and she gives me the questions and we do research on these. So we want to make sure we're researching the stuff you guys want to see. You can contact us by phone, by text, by email, whatever way you want us to. Like and subscribe to this thing. Bree will get mad at me if I don't tell you that. We're here for you. Thank you. Have a great day.